While factoring polynomials is not division, it is kind of the opposite of multiplying. So let's review multiplying polynomials. Let's try and multiply this expression. I'm going to distribute the 2x to both the 6x and the 5. 2x times 6x is 12x squared. Then times the 5, and I get 10x. Now I'm done with the 2x, and I have to do the 1. 1 times 6x is 6x. And I'm going to line him up with the 10x because they're getting together later. And 1 times 5 is 5. Now let's add like terms, and we get 12x squared plus 16x plus 5. Now let's scan our answer and see where each part of it came from. The 12x squared, I want you to note, the first term really came from the first two terms of our problem. And the 5, the last term, came from the last two terms of our problem. Now, the 16x, did he come from nowhere? I can't see. Well, actually, I want to say he came from, a little bit corny, the rainbow. He came from a combination of the outsides, 2 times 5, and the insides. See the rainbow? 10 plus 6. Let's do another problem just so you can see what's the same every time. I'm going to distribute the x. That'll be 3x squared and minus 7x. Now I'm done with the x, and I'll multiply the 1. That's going to be 1 times 3x. I'll put him under his buddy. And 1 times negative 7. Now adding like terms, I get 3x squared minus 4x minus 7. Once again, where did this answer come from? Let's look at each term. The 3x squared, the first term, came from the first parts, didn't it? The negative 7, the last term, came from the last parts. And the middle term came from the rainbow. That's a negative 7x and a plus 3x. If you combine the two, you get negative 4x. So, using that idea, we're going to factor by working backwards of multiplication.
Let's play. Here we go.
Okay, let's try and come up with the answer, the factoring of this problem. Well, we're going to have to make guesses. Let's make a reasonable guess for these two numbers. We know they have to multiply to 12x squared. How about 6x and 2x? It's a reasonable guess. And a guess for these two, they have to multiply to 5. It is only a guess, but I'll put 1 and 5. Now, am I correct? The rainbow has to give me 16x. Let me check it. I'm going to do what you call check the rainbow. That's a 30 and a 2. That makes 32. That's not it. So I can admit I'm wrong. And don't erase this one. I just try another. How about another possibility for 12x squared? 3 and 4, or 3x and 4x. And for 5, well, that's an easy one, 1 and 5. Now, once again, let's check the rainbow to get the middle term. I'm going to get 15x and 4x is 19x. This is a tough one. The bad news is it is a bunch of guesses. The good news is you have to check it to do it, so you know when you're going to be right. So don't give up. Let's try again. Another guess. 2x and 6x. I switched the order. Order counts. And for 5, 1 and 5 again. Let's see what we get. for the rainbow, 10, 2 times 5, and 6, 1 times 6. Ooh, that looks good. And we are absolutely positive that we're correct because we checked the answer. So that way, if you would, will work every time, and you can be guaranteed that you'll get 100.
Excellent.
Let's try another. Watch what we're doing here. Make a reasonable guess for this one. Well, there's only 2 possibilities to multiply to 5x squared. 5x and x. Now 6, or negative 6, let's try a negative 1 and a positive 6. It's a reasonable guess. I'll check the rainbow to see if I get the middle term. Well, 5 times 6 doesn't look good, does it? 30 and minus 1. This one doesn't work. But once again, I remind you, don't erase it on your paper so you're not checking it over and over again, the same one. Okay? Let's try again. I'm going to try the same 2, 5x and 1x, but for 6, this time, let's try 2 and 3. See if I'm going to get the middle term by checking the rainbow. I get a negative 15 and a positive 2. Now a negative 15 and a positive 2 give me a negative 13x. Wait a minute, I want a positive 13x, so I'm close. So what I'm going to do is only switch the signs since I'm so close. So let's use 5x and 1x, and this time negative 2 and positive 3. We'll check the rainbow, and I'll get positive 15x and minus 2. I got it. It really isn't genius, it's just sticking with it until you get it. Now they're all about the same, but let's try another. What's going to multiply to x squared? Well, sometimes it's so easy it's hard. It's going to be x and x. That's all it could be. Now, for 12, I hate 12. There's a bunch of numbers that multiply to 12. But we'll try 3 and 4. And you're going to see, you know all right away, I bet you know that I'm wrong. 3 and 4 give me 7. Now you're going to get good at this. You're going to be making the right guess earlier, because what's going to happen here is you're going to be reviewing your multiplication tables. We'll try x and x again here, and this time for the 12, let's try 6 and 2. Now that's going to give me, for the rainbow, a positive 2 and a positive 6, and I'm going to get positive 8x. I'm very close. Now what happens when I get the right number but the wrong sign? Well, let's switch the signs. Once again, x and x. And this time, remember, I want a positive 12. I can get a positive 12 with 2 negatives, negative 6 and negative 2. And if I check the rainbow, I'm going to get negative 2x and negative 6x. And I know I'm right. Hopefully you got the idea. Something that looks as different as this will still work the same way. My guess for this term is going to be xy and xy. And my guess for this term, I'll use 8 and 1. And I check the rainbow, and I get 1xy and 8xy. I probably shouldn't have guessed 8 and 1. Let's try again, xy and xy, and I bet you already know what to put here. Let's put 2 and 4. And we'll get 4xy and 2xy. And there's your boy. This one looks very different, but we can still do it the same way. Remember, I didn't say first, second, or third. This is sometimes called the difference of two squares, but we don't even need to know that. It'll work the same way. It could be written x squared plus none x minus 16. The middle term could be nothing. Okay? But you're probably not going to see it that way. As usual, these two numbers are going to give me the first value, and these two numbers are going to give me the last value. I didn't say third, I said the last value. Now, why do we know we're wrong here? 2x and minus 8x give me minus 6. Well, we need the pair of second numbers to add up to 0. Well, so what we're going to have is x and x in this case, and what else multiplies to 16? A square. Well, a positive 4 and a negative 4 add up to 0, and you've got your answer. Here's another difference of two squares. It could be written y squared plus none x minus 25. You won't see it that way. It'll stick out like a sore thumb because there's two expressions, or I should say two terms rather than a 3. So to do this, we'll just do the same factoring method, make our guess, and then what's your guess going to be for the last two? Now you know what you're doing. A minus 5 and a plus 5, and there it is. You're getting better at this, aren't you? There you go. Now this one's a little bit more difficult, and we're going to add a step for you. So that we can minimize the number of guesses we make, let's factor out the greatest common factor first. We know how to do that. I'm looking at all three terms, and I see that a 5 can come out. Let's take it out. It'll make the problem easier. Remember how to take out the greatest common factor? Basically, it's going to be 3 little division problems. That's why we learned this. And 70 divided by 5 is going to be much easier to deal with as 14.
Is that your final answer?
Well, no, I'm not done yet. Now, we bring down our 5. Now we break up the blue part here the way I just showed you. Make your guesses. What are you going to guess here? Well, let me check the rainbow. Ooh, I'm off by a little bit. That's all right. I'm very unlucky. I'll switch the signs. Just switch the signs in this case. So we bring down the 5, the greatest common factor. Make your first guess. Make your last guess. And don't forget, check the rainbow. Plus 2 and minus 7. We got it. And there's your answer.
You absolutely proved to yourself and to the audience that you deserve to be in this competition.
And that's the way to do it. Now, taking out this greatest common factor is going to help you a lot. Let's take a look at this one.
Wait a minute.
The greatest common factor of these three is 2x squared. We talked about this before. Nobody likes that negative in front. So instead of using 2x squared, let's take out negative 2x squared, and then we'll be done with the negative for the rest of the problem. Well, let's see what happens. Do our 3 division problems, and we have a somewhat easier problem. I'm not saying it's easy. This is the big leagues now, but at least it's doable.
The important thing is it your final answer?
No, we still have to continue breaking up the blue part, if you would. So I'll bring out my greatest common factor and break up the blue part. But this one's not that bad, because what are the possibilities for 3x squared? And what are the possibilities for 11? Let's check it. negative 3, and positive 11. I'm still not very good at this guessing part, am I? But I'm not going to give up. That's the key. I'm not going to give up. All I'm going to do is switch the signs. I'll do it. 3x and x. This time minus 11 and 1. And I get a 3, a minus 11, and I know I'm right. Doesn't get much harder than that. How about that?
Here is today's final Jeopardy answer.
One last problem. Note that we're going to do the greatest common factor first.
And you're going to do it because I said
Don't do it because I said so. Do it because it makes the problem easier. Now, the greatest common factor of these two terms is 10x to the third. So let's take it out and do our division. Division here. Okay, now, fear not. Look at the blue part. We still have to break up the blue part. Don't even look at 10x to the third anymore. That's the difference of two squares. It sticks out like a sore thumb.
perhaps I could be of some assistance.
Let's break it up.
Does this answer your question?
Remember that we could write this like this? We don't have to, but we could. Which means my guesses are 2x and 2x, and plus 3 and minus 3. See, we're going to get our plus 6 and minus 6, and there's your answer. So don't forget to always at least try to take out the greatest common factor first.